Dr. David is my name again, and I have a very pressing question that many have been asking me concerning suspension and what should be the approach in dealing with workplace suspension, employee suspension. So, first and foremost, it is important for us to understand what is suspension, and then when we understand, we can now see the categories of suspension and how is suspension dealt with in a formal work environment. Now, the word suspension means to temporarily deactivate. So, when you suspend a person, particularly is used for employees, to suspend an employee from work means to temporarily deactivate or disengage the employee from regular work activities. And you want to know what leads to suspension. Now, technically, there are two categories of suspension. The first is what we call administrative misdemeanors. That is to say, when somebody has committed an offense in the work environment, and this offense, you want to punish the person. Let me use that word, or let me use the word correct. Let me know because the objective behind consequence is not to punish, is to correct, and ultimately the objective behind every consequence management is to shape behavior, that is to modify behavior. So when you suspend a person, what are you trying to do? You mean you have committed an administrative misdemeanors and therefore we suspend you. It means we take you from the work environment. You have acted in ways that does not align with normal expected behaviors of an employee of, we call it corporate citizenship. And because you didn't behave, you didn't act in ways and manner that align with culture, ethics, code of conduct, then you are removed from the work environment because your action does not justify you being within the cycle of, ethical people. So that area, you are using suspension as an instrument of what? Of bringing the person to consciousness that what I've done is bad. Oh, I feel so bad about it and I'm isolated from work. They don't say you are on leave, they say you are on suspension. You have been disciplined. So when you take a criminal and you imprison the criminal, you incarcerate. What you are saying that as a criminal, you have acted in a way that is against community and society. You have acted like a human being. You acted in ways and manner that do not conform with standard of some human being. And as such, you incarcerate. So when you incarcerate the person, what do you want to do? You want to be in prison to think, to feel bad, to feel ashamed, to reflect on his actions and say, I didn't do very well. And by the time you release him, he feels so bad. So when you release him from prison, he signs an undertaking, promising that I have changed, I've learned, and I won't do that again. The same way too, when you now place an employee on administrative misdemeanor suspension, you say you have acted in a way that does not align with our environment, our work culture, corporate culture. Therefore, we remove you. When you remove the person and you place him on what you call suspension, you want to think, to reflect, to review, to say, oh no, I didn't do well. I should have said it, I should have acted this way. That period that you take him off from work, it goes to think, to reflect, to reframe, and by the time he's coming back to work, it does not resume immediately. It goes through the HR and supervisor. So when he comes back, he say, okay, you were suspended for fighting in the premises. Okay, have you learned your lesson? Do you think you have acted well? Do you think what I've done is good? And it feels bad because when you suspend him, they ask after him, they say, where is he? He says on suspension. He's isolated. When he gets home, his spouse or nephew or relative says, where are you? They ask him, where are you? He says, I'm on suspension. So he's thinking, he's looking at his action very well. He's having that self-reflection. So when he comes back and he wants to resume, he comes to HR and his supervisor and they ask him, do you learn from that? They say, I learned. Do you think next time you will say, no, no, I won't have it. So what have you learned? I learned that I should put my emotion under control. I learned that this is a work environment and whatever happens to me, I should report to my supervisor. Okay. So and it's science. I promise that when I have issue with the staff, I will report and I will not escalate through my outburst emotion and I will guide myself and I will behave as a corporate citizen and it's science. That's behavioral modification. Then is placed back into the work environment. That is that. Now, because he has lost hours, man hours, you can't pay him. Because if you pay him, then everybody will have a suspension. Suspend me too. I will go and I will not work and I will be paid. And that has violated principles of equity in wage management or reward management. So he loses hours. He didn't work. He can't get paid for that. He has to learn how long. But the second one is called investigative suspension. When you place a person on investigative suspension, the reason because there is a finding, there's an accusation. We're not sure, you don't have facts yet, it's just an accusation. So to allow independent investigation, to allow the person from influencing, because they have been accused, they can't stay in that environment, it will influence. You send him away on suspension. Don't forget, he has not committed any admitted, validated offense yet. So when you place him on suspension, that is investigative suspension. And during the investigation, you find that he was wrongly accused. You will recall him. When you recall him, you will pay him because he was wrongly accused. So that is the difference between administrative suspension and investigative suspension. Now, in investigative suspension, you need to know something very important. What is that thing? If you find him culpable, you will not pay for the period he has lost, and he can also pay other penalties. Depends on the outcome of the investigations and the report of findings established against him. But if your finding is criminal in nature, you may choose to escalate to the law enforcement agent to take over that. So that establishes the clarity between that. Now, there is what we call definite suspension and indefinite. Definite means you are specific with the days. Like most of the adjudicate misdemeanors is always specific. 2 days, 1 week, but there is not like forever. But when you say indefinite, indefinite does not mean that it has to be forever. It means because we are not sure of this period. So you will go, but you have to state that you will go on an initial period of 1 month. You can escalate. But you cannot say 6 months, 1 year is still solution, that's wrong. The maximum it can go is 3 months. If after 3 months the eventually is so critical, you can escalate, but not forever. Because you are going to be causing another issue when you place the person on indefinite suspension that prolongs more than 3 months. So when you say indefinite, you shouldn't go beyond 3 months. So that explains why you handle investigative suspension and physical suspension. I hope this helps, and I look forward to more questions around this. Thank you.